My country of choice for this presentation was Brazil. In all cases, the traditional Brazilian diet incorporates more foods that are natural, locally grown, and cooked with traditional recipes. This means that they didn't used to import a ton of goods and they used what was close by. The most common foods include rice and beans, meat, fish, seasonal fruit and vegetables, and a lot of bread and cheese. For the majority of the time, the traditional diet was very low in processed foods, unlike America or other larger countries who have a diet that's really based in refined sugars, flours, and other unhealthy items. However, in more recent years, there's been a very sharp increase in the unhealthy food in the Brazilian diet and a very sharp decline in traditional eating habits. So, the example of a traditional recipe I wanted to show was a pão de queijo. It's cheese and bread stuffed with cream cheese or meaty filling, and feijoada, black beans, sausages, and cuts of pork eaten with rice, kale, orange slices, and pork scratchings. So there's protein in this one. This one has a lot of carbohydrates, but this one both has beans, sausages, cuts of pork, and rice, kale, and some good vegetables in there, some protein. So, the most prevalent health issues in Brazil, obesity rates have skyrocketed. 50% of the population is overweight, and 25% of the women there are obese. There are escalating levels of diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease, and in general, cardiovascular diseases and diabetes are getting much more common. This is likely due to the expanding globalization and the increasing amount of fast food consumption that Brazil has been partaking in. Their problem went from not enough food and malnutrition to obesity as a result of the introduction of processed foods. So, this obviously leads directly into the impacts of globalization. As Brazil got increasingly more involved with globalization, their power politically and economically increased. And as the international trade increased as well, their diet shifted away from traditional dishes into imported processed foods. They got fast food chains and they just started eating a lot more artificial sugars. Additionally, as Brazil rushed to keep up their exports, deforestation of the Amazon became a huge issue. This isn't really related to food, but it's just a very important issue to discuss regardless. Brazil's fast food industry grew from 82% from 2008 to 2013, which is a very sharp increase, as you can see in here. In 2014, with the increase of globalization, sugars, dairy products, right here, and oils and fats made up the majority of Brazil's food revenue. 20 years before this, it's likely that the meat products and coffee beans made up the majority. So some of the nutritional solutions that I would offer as a WHO corporation is I would promote the health and well-being of the Brazilians, try to give them universal access and coverage in nutrition, teach them about it, why it's important, prevent chronic diseases and conditions as well as their protection factors, expansion of access to essential nutritional foods and medicines. Not only is it important to have really good nutrition, but also just for disease in general. Promoting the discussion involving nutrition and diet, as well as making exercise more common. In Brazil, exercising is not as common as in the United States, so probably attempt to increase that as well. And an attempt to return to more traditional eating habits rather than a globalized diet. So going back to their traditional meals and steering away from processed fast food.